Well, a very good evening on the 22nd of June 26. I'm back at Glenturret Distillery. It's the only place I find to park safely and quietly without too many people wandering around. You know, I can't park at any of the supermarkets or Aldi or B&M or even the local parks. It's, well, pointing the camera in all different directions is not very good. So I come out here. Any background noise is the river behind me, the river turret, and also that hob. The hop, I should say, is making a white noise, which you probably can't really pick up in the camera, but it irritates me. And one of the reasons I left the house, actually, although I have to say he was trimming grass at 7:25, but it was enough to irritate me. Enough to bail out the house eventually. So the reason I've opened the camera, even though I'd done an extensive vlog a few nights back in regards to the upcoming heatwave in the Europe and south of England, I didn't load it because well, I might get round to loading it. It's part and parcel of the same thing, the weather mongering fear factor and heat. And I've noticed a trend, apart from back in May, which is the absurdities by the Met Office and the BBC and the rest of the media regarding a few hot sunny days. At this time they've really gone to town, and I noticed that on a year-on-year basis, I'm not sure if anyone else notices it, but every year they manage to squeeze another couple of degrees higher, a couple of degrees Celsius, that is, we're talking Celsius here in the UK. And I noticed that they've got up to 39 degrees Celsius in London on Wednesday coming this week. 39 degrees. And perhaps trying to push it to 40 degrees, which they'll probably try and do. They'll probably say it's 40 degrees, although they won't show you the actual thermometer which takes the reading, because they never do. They don't show you it live, do they? And what made me think, and I mentioned this in this other vlog which I've not loaded yet, was the fact that they're trying to convince the likes of me that places like Oxford and London and Brighton and such are going to be hotter than Cairo or Kinshasa, Cairo in Egypt, or Kinshasa in DR Congo, or even some parts of the Middle East. Well, Cairo's the Middle East, but Basra, I noticed Basra's got a temperature already heading towards 50 degrees, Basra in Iraq. Now, that's not uncommon. It can get up to 60 plus degrees Celsius in the month of August. August is the hottest month in the whole of the upper equatorial region, and heading into the northern hemisphere. Further north you go, so the cooler it becomes. Anyone living in Scotland will realise that has very much been the case for weeks on end, and of course they always blame it on something. This time they blame it on the jet stream. It's too far south. It's always something up their sleeve to try and convince us it's some sort of conditioning of climate change. We've all, well, at least I hope everyone's heard of El Nino. Well, this is a classic El Nino year, so anything that's happening in the south of England or in upper parts of Western Europe, well, instead of talking about climate change, what they need to do is factor in the possibility of El Nino. It happens every few years. It's got a cycle, just like most things in nature. It operates on a cycle. The other thing is that could be the good Lord himself has said, "Oh, I'm fed up of you, sort of discrediting all my work and the balance of nature and Mother Nature's work. If you want it hot, I'll turn it up a few degrees if that's what you're looking to hear. And he might just be saying, well, I'll maybe breathe some fire on these people and try and get them to shut up for a little while. Because it does seem to be the places which have been causing the most problems, i.e. Europe and with a woke agenda. Even the banning of bloody air conditioning units. What a nonsense that is, eh? I bet they're all wishing they had air conditioning now. And I think to myself, if it is going to be 39 degrees in London on Wednesday, well, the time they get round to watching the bloody football match, the England game, they'll be bloody pissed and sweat and so exhausted, heat exhaustion, they'll probably not be able to keep their eyes open for more than 10 minutes of the game. Although, being England, that would be probably much the case anyway, I think. I haven't watched any of that football really. I've caught up a few bits of highlights. I watched a little bit of, well, I didn't watch any of the Scotland-Morocco game or Haiti game. I don't have a television and I've no access on the internet for it either, so I would just watch highlights. And that's about 8 minutes 41 seconds is about maximum they give you from BBC or ITV on YouTube, and that's sufficient actually. It's enough time to gather that I've saved about 80 plus, maybe 90 minutes of my life by not tuning into the whole match. I don't wish to sound derogatory to the football fans or those who are very enthusiastic about Scotland winning the World Cup, but my words are, there's no fucking chance. And I could have told you that possibly before they even qualified. The days of me sitting on the edge of a chair hoping for Scotland to win the match is long gone, because they always let you down. Great disappointment. Any team should have gone for a high maximum scoreline against Haiti. They should also have sent every bloody man forward. They should have had 6 forwards in the bloody match. Knowing that they're going to beat 1-0, they should have had the last 15 minutes of all for nothing charge up the path. That's what I've done as the manager. Just get everybody up the bloody, forget about if we get beat 3-0 or 5-0 or 10-0. Let's just try and see if we can get a goal out of this. But no, they want to play this bloody formal, passing the ball back forward because it makes good television. So anyway, I'm thinking about this heat stuff. I'm feeling that I'm actually at war with the Met Office in some small respect. A kind of strange, I've got a personal battle with them and all the meteorological science, and people might say, well, the whole science community can't be wrong. You just can't be right all the time. I said, well, it's not a case of me being right all the time. This is probably a bit of a weather anomaly, just like we get floods or we get heavy snowfalls occasionally, or we get times when there's reporting of extensive blizzards in the country, or lots of flooding, or so hot temperatures. It doesn't mean it's going to be the whole climate's changed. It's nothing about that. But there's so many people have been bought the ticket for this stuff that unfortunately it's a losing battle for the rest of us who are still sane and still apply logic to it. I'm terribly disappointed that this has all happened in my life, and it's only got worse over the last 5 or 6 years, to the point now that they are lying, and blatantly lying. So unless it convince me with an actual reading of a thermometer correctly, that is, in the shade, then I'll accept some parts of it. But even if it does reach, 38 degrees Celsius in London, well, so what? What's the problem with that? Really, what is the big thing about it? I mean, it's might be unusual, happening once a year, but there's 365 days in a year, and if it happens for a week a year, well, so what? And if it happens on a regular basis every year, then again, it doesn't matter. As I said before in this channel, lots of people pay a lot of money to go and spend, time abroad where it's guaranteed hot weather. If you go to Greece or Spain or Portugal, the south of France even, but mostly Malta and countries like in Cyprus and the likes. You go there and you pay, decent money because it's guaranteed sunshine. So I don't understand what the problem is. And there's a good chance that because of the number of people who are now living in the UK from hot countries, who were born in hot countries, there won't be so many fatalities that the Met Office are thinking about with their health warning and red warning for fucking sunshine and heat. I mean, if you're that stupid and you can't, work out to wear a cotton blouse or, even a silk shirt or something, and carry some extra water or fluid with you, not alcohol, but proper fluid to, even a little bit extra salt in your diet, because to make up for this, that you've lost through sweating, which is a very natural thing as well. Helping the body to cool down. The whole point of sweating is to let the body cool down a bit. But if you're a kind of crazy sort of person and you want to sit in your deck chair in 39 degrees of heat, and you end up at the hospital with severe sunburn or heat stroke, then that's your fault. Why should the government have to issue warnings for stupid people like you? Especially through our National Weather Service. It's not their job. It's not their job to look after every stupid ninny. And, I would think it would be pretty unbearable to be in central London, having experienced hot temperatures in that part of the country previously. I know how desperate it can get with the choking atmosphere and the bloody buildings radiating more of the heat that it absorbs. It's a constant battle. And most people from the city then take flight and get out into the countryside. But what they forget to tell you, London has got more park space than any other city combined in the whole of the United Kingdom. There's huge areas, Wimbledon Common being one example, Hyde Park, St James's Park, there's loads of them. Plenty of open spaces for the people to go and sit under a tree in the shade. So I don't understand all this hype. And if I was trying to tell me that, Brighton or Oxford or Cambridge, for example, are going to be hotter than Damascus or Cairo or even Tel Aviv. I mean, it's just a complete nonsense. And I really hate it all. I really hate it. It spoiled my whole interest in meteorology, to be perfectly honest. It's completely ruined my interest in being a sort of... I love weather, and I always paid good attention to the weather. And I've been understanding the sky. I've been looking at the sky since I was a young boy. And this is why I usually know that there's something mischievous going on when I see these long streaks in the sky on a blue when it's blue skies above, and there was these long white streaks all appearing. No, that's not aircraft. It's not coming from a commercial aircraft or a military aircraft. Why is that Cessna flying around in circles at this low level? And when I saw them yesterday, actually, I saw them in full tandem about 9:45 yesterday morning, and back and forth they were. And within a very short period of time, all the clouds started to build, all the blue sky started to turn away from became a very milky grey colour, and that's what happened to the sky. And then a few hours later, the sky was completely dotted with clouds that didn't have any proper formation. They didn't know where they were coming from, where they were going. Contacted the Met Office, but when it's the subject matter's chemtrails, they don't answer. They're deniers of that it actually happens, even though it's been admitted that it's common practice across the globe and has been since the 1940s. But I feel I'm losing a personal battle with this, because even having, someone, I don't bring up the conversation, but someone will say to me, "Well, God, you see the temperatures for," I said, "Well, you actually believe that?" And then I know they look stupid, because, well, the intentions are to make them look stupid when I say to them, "Well, you actually believe that?" And after that moment, they sort of gulp and realise that they are gullible and stupid. They say, "Well, and they haven't got any answer, because the only people that they're actually taking this information from are these government agencies, which are paid high sums of money to diddle the general public. I dare say there were people in France, or perhaps any of the Low Countries, Belgium or the Netherlands, or even with the Germany and stuff, who will be sitting worrying about the high temperatures, because they're usually quite used to having 30 degrees, 90 degrees, 32 degrees Celsius into the 90s Fahrenheit, and quite happy with that. But because it's gone up to 35 or 37 degrees, they think, oh, it's a bit hot. It's a bit like ourselves here in the United Kingdom, in Scotland, for example, where the average temperature has always been 15 degrees Celsius in the month of July. That's the average. But if we get a hot sunny day, if it's 22 or 23 degrees, that's the first thing people say, it's hot. Gosh, it's hot today. Well, no wonder it's hot, because it's above the average temperature you're used to. It's above what you would normally expect. So in July in Scotland, which is the hottest month, July and August at least, if you get a 26 degrees or something in Scotland, then you do definitely know it's hot. You feel it's hot, because you've been used to the temperatures being so much lower all the way through the winter, spring and early summer. So but I've experienced, I remember in July 2006, it was super hot, 28, 29, 30 degrees for days and days and days. And there's been many occurrences in my lifetime where the temperatures exceeded 30 degrees here in Scotland, but it didn't kill me. I didn't need a health warning. I didn't have to, somebody come to the door and say, could you stay inside, shut all your windows and shut your blinds, please. It's going to get hot and sunny today. But that's their intention with this red health warnings. Meanwhile, some tour aircraft, some aircraft full of tourists is taking off from Heathrow or Gatwick or something, and heading for countries which are guaranteed to have hotter temperatures than that. The whole thing is just it's just a mismatched deflection, in my opinion. I can't stand it. And I hate it, and I hate the lies. I hate the blatancy of it all. I hate the fact that they haven't mentioned in Scotland we've spent weeks and weeks under cloud and dank, miserable skies with drizzle and unseasonably low temperatures, making it a very dull, cold spring and rather damp start to our summer. So it's very pleasant tonight, but it's not scorching hot. There's cloud floating around everywhere, but I'm grateful to say that I don't think that's clouds created by, unnaturally. I think that's just the way the sky is, and yes, it's a clearing sky, so we might get hot tomorrow, and Wednesday, and Thursday, and Friday. But there's absolutely no chance that, unless you have it's like that COVID stuff, it's the same sort of approach. But unless you have an underlying health condition, which is affected by, your difficulty to breathe, in regards to the hot, dry, arid sort of air condition that we're expecting this week because of the high temperatures. I can understand these people need a little bit more care and attention. But if somebody gets knocked down by a bus, you don't blame it on the heat. That it was something to do with the high temperature that caused the person to get knocked down with a bus. But that's what they did during that COVID lockdown era. People getting knocked down by buses when they did, and being tested for COVID. Now, they had COVID, and that was a registered death. COVID. Not being knocked down by a bus. I'm not suggesting that every day someone gets knocked down by a bus, but it does happen. And probably more often than what people like to realise. There's probably at least a couple of fatalities a week or more in the United Kingdom from people getting knocked down by buses. A lot of them probably because they missed the first bus and then they saw the next bus which had nothing to do with them. They ran out into the middle of the road and tried to wave it down, got bloody knocked over. They were trying to get the number 12 and it was a number 17 it was approaching or something, or the number 22. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's like I'm already seeing these headlines going to be approaching. Hundreds die in Europe because of the heat. But if you probably were a statistician and you took the figures and you then broke them down, you probably find only 4 people died of the heat because of an underlying health condition or something. But the rest of them were probably died at the side of a swimming pool, cracking their head or something, jumping off the diving board the wrong way or something, or perhaps somebody's been swimming in a reservoir that they shouldn't have and got into difficulties, or somebody got knocked down by a bus. And all sorts of things that can happen. Choking on ice cream or something, because that's another possibility, isn't it? Eating a ice lolly too quickly and choking to death with it. That would be another. Died in the heat because of the hot weather. But I honestly, I cannot stand the way everything's been pushed forward these days, and it's all happened in the last 5 to 7 years, more so at least. It's been happening for a lot longer, but it's more apparent now. And what annoys me most is there's more people, as I say, buying the ticket for it and accepting it as fact. And it really saddens me, that. So rather than involve myself in any debates or arguments with people about it. I prefer to not even, get too involved with it, except to say, do you actually believe that? If it's any subject, that's the best thing to say to people. It saves any debate or any argument. Just say to them, do you actually believe that? And wait for the response. And as I say, after about 15 seconds, maybe 18 seconds after they've absorbed the comment, and you say, well, yeah, I suppose, right enough, yeah, when I think about it, it is a bit hard to accept, isn't it? Yeah, or they will go on the defensive because they've already been, persuaded by the constant drip feeding of the nonsense that comes through day by day through adverts and through mainstream media, through the newspapers and television. That's why I don't have any of it. I don't have any of it at all. I don't accept any of it. I tune in to quickly see what is on offer, but I switch it off very quickly. I stuck to my word about if a woman commentator comes on to gossip during any of the World Cup football matches, I immediately switch it off. And I've done that already, even with the highlights. I've heard some women, butting in. It's a sort of secondary commentator and saying, "Oh, there's a turn off." I would listen to the woman talking if she was maybe talking. I think I said in the previous upload, if she was talking about tennis or show jumping or something. I mean, you don't get really much international hockey or netball or that, do you? I don't know, but I don't think so. But that's where female commentary should be best at, gymnastics and stuff, But anyway, Andy, you're ranting on. I'm not ranting, I'm just making it very clear to people that I'm not accepting it. I will probably put together that earlier load I had, but I checked some of the world temperatures, a quick glance the other night ago, and I saw that it was 43 to 46, maybe 48 degrees Celsius in Iraq, Baghdad and down to Basra. I say that because it is a well-known hotspot in the world during the summer months. And I just had a quick check today, this evening, and I noticed it's up to 50 degrees. No one's making a big shout about that because the people in Iraq are used to it. But if it goes up to 60 degrees, then they're not used to it because it's hotter than what they expect. So like what I'm saying about people in Scotland, if we get 26 degrees, then we talk about it. It's the same with these people down in the south of England. They might get 25 or 27 degrees, which is pretty good for that part of the world. But if it goes up to 32, then they start talking about it because they're not used to it. It's certainly not going to be 39, and that's where my point is this manipulation of the data, the temperatures, the actual readings from the thermometers. Where have they been taken? Are they been taken at Heathrow Airport, beside all these hot engines of aircraft? Are they been taken in Kew Gardens, where it's very humid? It always comes up, the hot places are Kew Gardens and Heathrow. I wonder why. Well, that's the reasons why. Because of the humidity in the atmosphere at Kew and the hot air engines and all the buildings at Heathrow. So why don't they go on to the top of Dartmoor and take the temperature there, or at Stonehenge or something, you see? Yes. Take it in Wiltshire. Don't take it in Middlesex. It's always the same, and And that's why I'm believing that these are artificially sought temperatures. They know that they can get away with it, but they're happy to deliver it, but they don't give you all the rest of the facts. It's almost like me taking my temperature over there, and then going down to where all the machinery is. You know, that smoke's building out that chimney over there, where the hot machine is, and you see it down there, and taking my reading down there on the roof. It's going to be a lot hotter. So it's like if you've got a front and back door, if you go to the back door which is maybe in shade, and you take the thermometer reading, spend a half an hour there, and then you go to the front door with the same thermometer in your hand, and watch it zoom up when you're in the heat. And that's what they're doing. They're not taking it in the shade, they're taking it in the heat. So, to me it's all lies, and I'll stick by it until I'm otherwise persuaded. And I've mentioned often in this channel as well, sorry to make it so long, but the very fact that we do not have all the trees in bloom during January is because there's no climate change. Climate change would completely alter that in nature. Climate change would, if it's going to be a much more hot and arid climate rather than a temperate climate, then we would see difficulties in the growth of the crops. But if you look around all the fields, all the crops are growing just exactly as it normally would at this time of year. They're all green and shooting up, ready for the sun to bake them during the months of July and August. And then harvest will come along as normal in late August and into September. It's just all lies. Everything, no matter which way you look at it, it's a lie. I find it very sad that, as I said 100 times already tonight, I think, I find it very sad that so many people buy into it. And they've been brainwashed. And the only people that seem to be not entertaining it are those with a little bit of intelligence, who apply just a little bit common sense to the whole thing. Well, you don't apply anything, you just go like that. No, it's right, it's a lie. You just know it's something you know intuitively. It's the same as that COVID nonsense. I knew right away, at the very, very first moment, I knew there was something not right about it. And I went and checked some figures back. I'd done some research. And I found that in the preceding winter of 2018-2019, just over, it was about 23,700 odd deaths in Scotland alone from flu, and yet there was no lockdown. The figures are still there. They were on BBC March 2019, I think it was. I think it was the 23rd of March 2019, was, if I get the date right. I'll put it on the screen. I'll do it. I'll find it I'll put it on what day I found it. And it was almost 24,000 deaths from flu, and that is a sort of average year-on-year figure in Scotland. So when COVID came along, I thought, well, what's so different about this? What's so different about this? And when I saw all this nonsense about people and these, well, I don't want to go into too much detail, but what I did find something on which had nothing to do with it. It was way in advance of the announcement of lockdown. I had found information that in Canada they have been digging up victims of the plague, which struck the Yukon Valley and the Yukon territories back in the gold rush days. One of the reasons that the gold rush was over was because of plague. The Black Death arrived in the Yukon. So these Canadian scientists were up digging in amongst us in the Yukon territories in a year prior to lockdown. And what was most interesting was that there was a Canadian connection to the actual delivery of these microbes to the Wuhan laboratories in China. And I thought about it. I thought Wuhan, and I thought that's very strange that the Canadians are involved. And it just triggered my mind. I wonder if that's that stuff that they were fucking digging up the plague victims for. So immediately I was on alert. My mind was already flashing amber. I know there was some fatalities. I know some people who died from it, COVID. But again, I have to say there was also underlying medical conditions which may have been exacerbated by this flu. And how so many people rushed off to get an injection for it still defies logic, isn't it? It was through fear, I think, Andy. I think they were scared to bits. They've been so well drilled into fear that they actually thought that they were going to die unless they took a jab. And this is what's happening with the weather now. The weather has been used as a mandatory weapon against the people, and they don't even know it. And the fact that the people are in fear of, I said before, of self-igniting in the street, self-combustion in the street, but it's not that. It's they're in fear of dying in the street from being too hot. How ridiculous when you think about it, eh? It really is. I mean, if you're a heavy smoker and you're unfit and you wear a big woolly jumper when it's 39 degrees and you're not carrying any water or even a simple fan, you know, even a program or something to waft at your nose, get some fresh air. If you've not got any of that in place, you know, if you're wearing a duffel coat, it's 36 degrees, then you might become overcome with heat exhaustion. And the first thing that will happen to your body is you'll start perspiring heavily. That's the body shouting, "Take the fucking jacket off, please. Take the fucking jacket off. I'm roasting in here." And if you don't listen to that, the body will try all sorts. It'll start affecting your breathing. And if that doesn't work, it'll just knock you out. It'll make you faint and knock you out. The body's a wonderful thing. You get a cut in your hand, you go, oh, and then 3 days later, where's that cut gone? You didn't do anything with it. The body mended it. All by itself. I get a blister. Even a spot. I was grateful when I was a youngster I didn't suffer a lot from acne, but I know a lot of lads that did, and it's a shame. I think it spoilt for many of the adolescent years, but obviously everyone got spots, and I mean I occasionally get a spot in my face. Everyone does, but what I'm trying to say is that these spots will get healed up by themselves. Although I did go through my work one time, so I'm thinking back, this must have been about 2014 or 2015 it was. And I went to work, and before I went in to start the day, I had a cigarette. One of the line manager was having a cigarette. Morning, Andy. He says, what's that in your face? I says, it's a spot. Try not to be so. He says, no, I'm not. I'm what's that white stuff? It's all over. I said, oh, it's toothpaste to hide the spot. I put a great big bloody chunk of toothpaste to hide the spot next to my nose. I mean, everybody on the bus, the commuter bus, must have thought, what the fuck, he's been busy cleaning his teeth and left some on the side of his nose. But I went to my work with this great big lump of toothpaste on my side of my nose, and I didn't feel that was at all strange. But my line manager, the line manager I spoke to, thought it was a bit odd, and took the time to point it out. What's that in your face? I said, it's a spot. No, it's not a spot, it's toothpaste. And likewise, I remember one time arriving at my work, heading up to my work, it was absolutely pouring with rain. Absolutely teeming it down. 8:30 in the morning. And I nipped into a shop and I said, have you got any bin bags? What for? I says, I just want a bin bag to protect myself from the weather. I've not got a brolly. Oh yeah, sure. And then they charged me 10 pence, I think it was. Anyway, I marched up to the bus, and when I came out off the bus and climbed up the hill to go to the job, what's an office job, I covered myself in this bloody bin bag. And it did, it kept the rain off, you see. And I marched up the hill. And then this woman says to me in the office, you didn't see that bloody idiot this morning with it covered in a bin bag, marching up the steps. And I didn't have to say anything, I just looked at her. She said, oh, it was you! And I'm like, yeah, I was keeping myself dry. And then she went into fits of hysterics. She said, good God. I said, well, I says, what was the point? What do you want me coming in here, sitting here dripping wet? Red-rimmed eyes and a dripping nose. No, Andy. Well, I think that's us from Glenturret tonight, Andy. Just to prove we were here. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a cigarette. I'm going to enjoy it, actually. I'm looking forward to one right here. And you see, I couldn't do all this camera work during the daytime hours because there's so much traffic and tourism even at this spot. But at this time of night, it's not so bad. What time is it, Andy? It's 9 o'clock, so I think we'll retreat back home. I've got a feeling the cat will be around. I didn't see the cat at all yesterday. She spent hours with me on Saturday, but I didn't see her yesterday because I was out hill walking. I think she's taken the huff because I wasn't there, and because she hasn't been round at all today either. So she's definitely in the huff, but I think she might come round this evening. Got a feeling she will. But anyway, I'm sorry to go on so much, and as I say, you might think I'm sounding rather abrasive in my approaches to the current climate, i.e. people, but I'm not. I actually couldn't care less. It doesn't affect my day at all. And if all these people want to get themselves in a stressed out state and worried about a few days of high temperatures, then let them get themselves all in a twist. I'm not fussy about it. I'm not. Probably the only thing that bothers me is I'm a bit envious that they're getting such superb weather, and up here we're getting shite. But it's pleasant out tonight. It's a lovely night for late June, actually. It's very nice. And it's a nice night to connect with nature, to be perfectly honest. It's a lovely night just to sit and watch pigeons. It is. It's just sit and watch, make a decision. I'm going to find half a dozen pigeons and watch them. Not the sort of scrawny pigeons that you get at likes of in city centres, particularly Bertha bus station. The pigeons are as bad as the people in Bertha. I'm talking about wood pigeons. Wood pigeons by the sort of lanes, the side of a lane, or just in a sort of woodland trail. You all see pigeons feeding at this time of night, or pheasants or something. Owls were starting to get out of their beds. Not all owls, actually. Any tawny owls don't really get up that late. They're up during the daytime. They need to be. But, yeah. And the swallows, Andy. It's lovely watching the swallows. They're only here for another 8 weeks and they'll be gone. And so I like to sit and watch swallows about 9 o'clock-ish. But knowing lots and lots of places, well, shall we leave that for another vlog, Andy? Shall we leave that for a little while? Yeah, the pigeons are up in the sky. I can see them fluttering around. They're probably saying, "You hear Andy? Andy's out. Well, let's go down and see him." I've got a feeling they'll come down in a little while. I'll be talking to pigeons within the next 20 minutes. Yeah, I meant to say the swallows. I'm almost sure that the swallows would have probably had this as a retreat. But guarantee when they've done the refurbishments of the building, they've probably blocked up and made arrangements to, make it an unwelcome spot for the swallows who travel all the way from Africa to be with us every year. Not just with us, but right back to the identical spot that they left 12 months earlier, 9 months earlier. A swallow, just say for example, a swallow had been born above that window inside a nest. It would fly all the way from South Africa, the south of Africa, all the way back to that same spot above there in the spring following their birth. Now, who controls that? Does it not tell you something about the power and energy of the good Lord who's in control of everything? Including the fact that I can raise my hand without actually thinking about it. So it's good night from Glentonet. As I say, cigarette time, most enjoyable. Live a little, have a cigarette.